Gil here with the sailing vessel DreamChaser, and in today's episode we're going to catch up on a couple little small segments. I actually had to fly to Houston, Texas for a business meeting, so I went ahead and while I was there I drove on down to Kima. We checked on the other boat, Last Affair, so she's still safely sitting in her berth looking good and clean and hopefully sell soon. But got a little bit of footage from that and what I always refer to as the aluminum forest there in the Kima area. We talk a little bit about our companionway hatch cover, a little bit of things we did with the kids this week, taking them to a nature center where the older of the two grandkids went ahead and did an art class in the nature, which was a really kind of cool deal. And then the last thing is we will do a quick recipe for applesauce, one of our favorite snacks to keep on board. It's healthy, pretty easy to make, and it's almost a good substitute for ice cream if it's really good and cold. So on my flight to Houston, I flew on a Boeing 737 with Southwest Airlines. I don't know if you can see that compressed line of air. It's kind of a cool phenomenon that happens specifically on these planes when the flaps go down, but I've been told that that's actually the pressure compressing the moisture out of the air and leaving that trail. Pretty cool stuff. So come on aboard as we land in fast motion in Houston Hobby Airport and pull up to the gate. As I arrived in Houston, I went ahead and got the rental car and I drove back down toward Clear Lake, and I love showing this. So this is actually on the right hand side of Highway 146. You can see all of these masts, and then on the left hand side, just look at this. This is what I've always referred to as the aluminum forest. It is a massive sailing area for the South Texas area. This is about halfway between Houston and Galveston. But just get a sense of all of those masts. This is actually the marina that we used to keep Last Affair in. So our boat neighbor came by and noticed that the hatch cover, canvas cover, was torn in a small section, and she offered to go ahead and re-sew it for us. I thought it was really nice. So Deb took the cover off, and I forgot just how nice it looks. You know, we put these canvas covers to protect the wood, and then we don't uncover them often enough to really enjoy the beauty of it. So pretty impressed. This looks nice. So we had a couple people ask just for the recipe on applesauce. What I'm going to go ahead and do is show you real quickly how we make it. Pretty simple. I just have some golden delicious apples. You want some kind of sweet apples. I use cinnamon. I don't even add sugar to it. Really want a frying pan or skillet. I'm actually just using an electric skillet that I can cover up. And then any kind of blender or even a manual puree machine, you know, like a potato ricer or a potato masher or something like that. I'm just going to go ahead and use our blender, which works just as fine as well. So here we go. Really, we have pretty much all the ingredients we need right here. Some apples, some cinnamon, a skillet saute pan, and that'll do it. Yeah, we're going to start pretty simply just by peeling these. Forgive the low light. It's after dark and we don't have a lot of good lighting underneath this countertop here. Pretty easy. Just use a vegetable peeler or a knife, either one. And we'll just go ahead and get this thing peeled up. Sharp vegetable peeler is the best, by the way. Alright, so I just about have them all peeled. I'm going to go ahead and do the last apple here. You can do this with the skins on or the skins off. I don't really care for the skins on if everything else gets really soft and then you kind of get a mouthful of the skin, which doesn't usually soften up in the short amount of time we're going to heat this stuff up. So for that reason, I typically take the skin off, but can certainly be done either way. And as a matter of fact, if you got a really powerful Ninja, a Vitamix, or a really powerful blender like a Vitamix or a Ninja, you can probably just pulverize that skin to where you don't even recognize it's in there anymore. But I'm going to be serving this to a few different people that some of them don't like the skin either, so make sure I'm taking it all off. It's just a matter of cutting these up. I prefer to do it a couple of different ways that seem to work better for me. Probably the best way is this way, and just leave a fairly large core so you don't have to mess with it. Waste maybe a little of the apple doing it this way, but it certainly makes it easier. We just want to cut these up into some, fairly small pieces and toss them into a frying pan or a pot. You could do this in a crock pot, a pressure cooker, whatever. You're really just wanting to soften them up. I do them in a low simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until they're, fork soft. And the smaller you cut them, the quicker that'll happen. And now what we're going to do is just add a little bit of water to this, mainly just to help it steam and all soften up. I'm going to turn this up to about 200 degrees or so. Pour some water in it, put it up to about 200 degrees. We'll just put a lid on that and let that simmer for a little bit. I like them to be really cinnamon flavored pretty good, so I'm just going to sprinkle some cinnamon right on all this here. A pretty good dose. It's probably, this might even be maybe a full tablespoon almost of this. Once you have it in there, we'll just sort of mix this up a little bit. So once these get kind of soft, it's now just going to be a matter of scooping them right into the food processor. So now go ahead and just put the apple mixture into the blender, and you can see these are good and soft at this point. It's just now a matter of blending this up. So we'll put our lid on here. Stuff's all a little harder to do one-handed. And now we'll turn it on. That looks good and smooth. Take a look at that. And again, it's pretty warm, so what we're going to do is put it in the fridge so it cools down good. And being on a boat, we never like to put it directly in the fridge, so we'll leave it out, let it get to room temperature, and then put it in the fridge in a couple hours or probably in the morning. And now that we just put them in containers, it's nothing more than sealing up the containers, and we'll cool them down. Much better when this is good and cold. So there you have it. Pretty simple, easy to do recipe. Just apples and cinnamon and a little bit of heat, and then blend them up or mash them up. I actually pureed these a little bit more than I typically do. This is definitely going to be almost like a store-bought applesauce consistency. And I typically like to leave it a little bit more chunky, but I let it run a little too long in the food processor. So, taking a nice bike ride with Chastity. This is Plantation Road. I actually think this is probably where the old plantation really was. Pretty cool. This is what I do like about here where we're docked. It's amazing that these trees just are here with boats that are this large. We're not that close to the shore. We can get there in about a 6-hour hike. It's a great little honey hole and hurricane hole, but look how pretty. Alright, well listen, I've wanted one of these things for a while. I've been putting it off, but I am driving on down to the store and I am picking up a Rogue mic. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit better sound than a lot of the videos we make. So forgive me for this introduction because I'm doing it via my cell phone while driving on the bridge. Chastity's going to a nature preserve art class. So we're heading back to some tables they set up in the woods where they're going to teach the class. So that'll be cool. Definitely pretty cool looking.
They're yours? Okay.
That's mine.
That's yours. Alrighty.
What'd you find? Tell me.
That's
Here's a pebble. That's called a pebble. It's a small rock.
I don't know.
You don't know? I found it right there. There's more pebbles. Look, here's a pink one.
So, hope you enjoy it. Sorry for not having a lot of detailed projects in this particular one. Our next major project, or at least big project, is going to be replacing all of the batteries for the house bank in the boat with 6-volt golf cart style batteries. We have 3 8D batteries, and they're just monstrous, so we're looking forward to getting rid of those and going to something smaller, a little bit easier to maintain, and honestly, if I need to lift them in and out of the boat, it's not a backbreaker. So that's the next project, and I would expect in the next 2 weeks we will have probably a multi-part series on that. As you know, I always draw out everything I need from a plans perspective, so I've been doing all the research as far as the components that I want to have in this particular system. I want to stay away from the 1-2 combined or none battery combiners. I really want to have a more intelligent system for automatically switching the circuits to the battery that needs the most charge, whether that's coming from the alternator or from the electric battery charger on shore power. So we'll have a whole session, a couple of different videos on that, how to design it, what we purchased, and ultimately how to install it, set it up, and test it. So hope you find this useful. Thanks a bunch. Oh, and I want to thank all the new subscribers. In the last couple of weeks, we've been getting a bunch of new subscribers, so thank you so much. And again, I apologize this isn't a more detailed project video, but really welcome aboard, and stick with us for a couple more episodes. You'll certainly see a lot more project videos as we go. Au revoir. I was just about to say be careful you don't fall on that trip. Careful you don't fall in the wet mud, okay?
We got that on video.
Did you really? Nice. I'm so tired. I'm out of shape.